So, if you are anything like me, if you are as cynical, if you are as pessimistic as I am about American politics, then you would have approached last night's presidential debate knowing that not a goddamn thing about it was going to be presidential. If you're anything like me, you would have approached the debate knowing that it was going to be purely entertainment. You would have approached the debate purely for entertainment value. You would have approached the debate the way that one approaches, the way that one anticipates, a VH1 Love and Hip Hop reunion. You would have anticipated last night's debate the way one anticipates a Bravo Real Housewives reunion. That's how you would have approached. That's how you would have anticipated last night's debate. Purely entertainment, for pure shits and giggles, not knowing nothing, substantive would have came out of it. The only thing you could really do at this point is laugh, because that's all I did. I mean, my expectations were low. The bar is the floor, but even I could not have predicted the shit show that was last night. I mean, wow. They outdid themselves. Trying to even recap that shit is pointless. So I'm just gonna talk about the shit that made me laugh. The shit that made me laugh. I'm laughing for one of two reasons. Laughing because it was legitimately hilarious, or laugh to keep from crying because it was pure disbelief and pure shock. So that's the only reason I was laughing last night. So I mean, from the get-go, Trump came out, he came out swinging. I feel like Trump and Biden had two very different strategies for last night. Trump was going low. Biden was trying to go high, like Michelle said. But like I've said before, when your opponents don't have no moral compass, don't have a conscience, when you go high, you only look like a dummy. And I'm sorry, Joe, I could actively tell that Joe was trying to be dignified and classy and whatnot. But when you're dealing with Trump, like, the gloves just gotta come off. Because literally anytime Joe would try to utter a sentence and make a point, Trump was right there interrupting him, just saying lies and shit. And Joe, poor Joe, you could tell Joe was trying his hardest to not let it get to him. All I can say is, Joe, you're better than me. Because if it was me, that nigga wouldn't see me in the parking lot. And that's just on period. We literally would have fought. Like, you're not finna interrupt me time after time again and me not pop off. So, kudos to Joe for managing to not lay hands on Trump. Couldn't be me. But there were several moments that I cackled, I laughed, I was bemused or confused or just outright in disbelief. I mean, 20 minutes into debate, Joe said, "Can you shut up, man?"
Because the question is, the radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list? Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list? Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list?
I cackled. I'm like, it's about time you tell this motherfucker to shut up. And I mean, his campaign wasted no time because literally on his little website, they already selling shirts. If there's one thing capitalism gonna do, it's capitalize on a moment. I mean, damn. And then there was the part where Trump, he basically threatened Joe. He was like, "Don't use the word smart with me." And I was like, "Ooh, or what? Or what?" But you know what's funny, Trump, I can assure you, I can guarantee you that no one with a functioning brain, no one with IQ points, no one with sanity, with reasoning, with intelligence, no one would ever classify you as smart. So rest assured, Trump, you don't ever have to worry about that. And Trump talked about, America's core values, trying to bring those back. And I'm just like, well, what are they? Because if I had to go off the top of my head and guess what America's core values are, some words, some phrases, or some terminologies that I would use to describe American core values. We can start with racist, white supremacist, greed, corporate greed, patriarchy, oppression, insurrection in foreign countries, dismantling other countries, going where we're not wanted. If we're talking about American values, those are just some of the things off the top of my head. So if Trump can just fill us in or specify what American values are, please, I'd be very interested to hear. Because literally all he did was just talking dog whistles. He talking dog whistles to white supremacists. And speaking of white supremacists, there was a moment when Chris Wallace asked Trump to disavow, to, publicly, condemn white supremacists. And you know what he did? Let me show you what he did.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing to do
specifically
that, but
do it? Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
This man told white supremacists to stand by. Stand by? I mean, that's a Freudian slip if I've ever seen one. Trump went from worse to worse because there was also another point where Trump brought up his two of Joe Biden's sons, Hunter and Beau. Hunter, who battled, who had his, battle with, drug addiction, and then Beau, who's been dead for some time now. And I don't expect Trump to have any decency, but one would think that using a politician's dead son who died from cancer, using him as a pivot, that's like off limits, but no. And there was a point, like you could visibly see, Joe Biden getting upset and rattled. And so I felt bad for Joe. And I also felt bad for Chris Wallace. Chris, I'm sorry, but sir, you let Donald Trump bitch you on national television. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I don't know how to to put it other than that. You was a bitch. You let him bitch you and punk you on national television. So when those 90 minutes of debating, if you really want to call it that, once that was over, they asked the CNN anchors to give their little 2 cents. And what did those anchors say?
Well, that was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck. That was the worst debate I have ever seen. In fact, it wasn't even a debate. It was a disgrace. And it's primarily because of President Trump.
My mouth. You use some high-minded language. I'm just going to say it like it is. That was a shit show. And
all I can say is I couldn't have said it better myself. That was a fucking shit show. And to think we have 2 more of these? Yo, if you can't laugh at this, I don't like it. For me, laughing is the only way I can cope with this. Like, this shit is ridiculous. America is going to hell in a handbasket. So at this point, like, all you can do is laugh and enjoy the ride. Because that's what I'm gonna do. Because that's how I'm gonna keep. That's the only way I can keep my sanity in the midst of all this shit. Laugh. Because last night I came to the realization we're fucked either way. Because if Trump legitimately wins the election, we're ruined. I mean, you can kiss American democracy goodbye. And if Joe Biden actually does win, Trump is not going to concede. Trump's going to contest the election. I wouldn't even be surprised if shit got violent. Like, I'm talking like Civil War type shit. So, we're fucked either way. And I found it really interesting that, the anchors and the political pundits, they were really trying to figure out who won the debate. Won? And let me just say this. American culture is very dualistic. Like, we think in binaries. It's either or. It's black or white. It's yes or no. It's left, right. It's gay or straight. It's like, there's no nuance. There's no room for nuance. There's no room for being in the middle. It's just this or that. It's like, that's a trait that's very intrinsic to the culture of America. I would like to offer the idea that, in regards to last night's debate, who won? Nobody won. We all lost. America looks like a fucking joke. Okay? Like, to foreign countries, America is a pure shit show. Okay? Like, no one won the debate. We all lost. If anyone won last night, it was the white supremacists. They won. I mean, white supremacists got an endorsement from the president. So if you're white supremacist, you won. But everybody else, we lost. Like, I know for some people, you could watch last night's debate and be totally disillusioned with the American political process, with the voting system. I get it. But in the same breath, I just want to, like, we cannot have another 4 years with this man. We can't. The only thing I could say of any value at this point is make a plan, register, and get ready to vote. Yeah.